spark the hearts. So, I went to Canadian Nationals for Poetry, C.I.P.S. it was called. I've been doing slam poetry, is what it is. It was a slam poetry competition. I've been doing slam poetry for about 5 years. I've actually never in my life written a slam poem. What I do is I just do my hip-hop songs, which are poems. And I just, obviously you just do it in a slam poetry style. A lot of times I just go up and freestyle. That's my favorite thing to do. I just feel the moment and I go up there and express. That's what I'm doing right now. Totally unrehearsed. I live and breathe this and speaking, so it's all the same to me. What would I rehearse, So, after about 5 years of doing that, I think 3 years ago I got top marks. There's 2 rounds and there's judges. I was just on fire. I was doing amazing, but I went over the time limit, so I got reduced points, and I ended up getting like 7th or 8th place. I might have won the Nelson had I not gone over the time limit. Then last year, same thing, went over the time limit, and then this year I was determined to not go over the time limit. I can't even vaguely remember what happened this year, but I think that part of what I felt is that there was a lot of after the Me Too movement and women, the power with women and stuff, so the women's poems were getting particularly high scores, which is fine. That's, it happens, and there's things. So I ended up getting 3rd place this year, and I felt like really I could have done better in my first poem, but my second poem was lights out. It was like top scores, but a woman that won, there was no beating her, or there was no winning that competition, not for me in that moment. Just to stay with fact is, she was a lesbian, and I hope that's the right way to say it in now's day and age. I hope that's not offensive. Anyways, I don't mean any offense. Just sticking with facts. She's beautiful. I think, almost just under 30. Her beautiful girlfriend was sitting in the front row, and they're both doing their poems. She said the one that won, she had beat cancer, and she was talking, men did this to me and stuff, and, she had overcome cancer. She's beautiful. She has a beautiful girlfriend there. Like, there, in that moment, there was just no beating, there was no winning that competition as far as I could, and it is what it is. So I got 3rd place. But the 2 women stepped aside, the ones that got 1st and 2nd, so I got to go to the competition. Now, going into the fundraiser, for whatever reason, I don't know why things happen. I don't know, that is all speculation, of course, of what I just said. This is just me telling my story. And, as far as, why they won and why I didn't and whatever. So I got 3rd place. They stepped aside, so I'm getting to go in my fundraiser to going into it. It was, no one showed up. Very few people. And it's just been like this way for a long time for me, feeling unsupported. And, again, speculation. I have no idea why no one showed up. Very few did. There wasn't even enough to do a competition. But I got the fundraiser amount of money. People came, and so my bank was all hitting collections. Was behind on rent. It was like, tough just to even get there. Luckily, at the last minute, my friend lent me his truck and gave me some money and helped me out to go down there. And then when I got to the front gate of the C.I.P.S competition, a trans person met me with, "What's your pronoun?" And I said, sorry, I don't know what that means. I've been healing in the forest for the last 2 years. I don't, what does that mean? Okay, I'm not going to get mad at you. And I'm like, well, I appreciate you not getting mad at me. So that was how I met into the competition. And so then it was getting verbally harassed, essentially, just from this front gate, because being labeled, cis or something. And getting labeled something. This person didn't even ask me my name, didn't even say hello, didn't ask me what matters to me, whatever. Complete lack of like disregard for my well-being and simply like projecting and yelling at me. And I just met this person. And I say this person, they want to be called they. So here I am doing my best to respect them, even though I did not feel respected at all. Here I am at Canadian Nationals. You'd think, and this person was saying, I'm on the board of directors and I'm the host, and they're working the front door and everything, and it's like, I'm at Canadian Nationals. You could say hello and ask me my name and ask me what matters to me, or at least just say hello instead of trying to shove this stuff down my throat. But obviously, that's what was going on in that moment. That's fair enough. I love all people. I don't care what race, what color. I really could care less about that. That would mean that I was, a bigot or something like that. And I love people, and that's the truth. And so that was a little bit shocking. And then get in there, do my first poem, low scores, like doing bad. Second poem, really doing bad, almost crying, actually not at that point, but I asked for a ride home. I said, I don't know how to get home. So I asked that same person, hey, they were the host, and I said, can you make an announcement on the microphone so that I can get a ride home? Can you just ask anyone? I'm staying in Richmond. We were downtown Vancouver over by, Commercial Drive. We were on Commercial Drive. And I said, I don't really know how to get home, and, if I could get a ride, someone going to Richmond, you just make an announcement, it'd mean a lot to me. They're like, no. And I'm like, excuse me? No. And I was like, oh, thanks a lot. And I went and sat down like, what the heck? Like, I meet you, and you're yelling at me in the street, and now I ask you for a ride, and you just straight up said no. And I seriously said, oh, thanks a lot. I was just like, I was like, okay, Daryl, just stay focused. It doesn't matter. Obviously, this person has anger inside. I won't even say a hate out for me or whatever at this point. I'm just like, they're just angry. And seeing me as, whatever, less than them or not unworthy of even making an announcement for me, And so I got that home. That night I ended up having trouble getting home. I ended up had to wake up my auntie in the middle of the night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. But I got off the SkyTrain. It was the last one. Luckily I even caught it because I almost missed that. And then when I got there, it was like 1 in the morning. And I didn't have a cell phone because it broke right on the moment I was leaving in the driveway. It smashed as we were leaving my house to even go down there. So I didn't have a cell phone. I had no money, literally had $75 in my pocket, and my buddy gave me $200. So I had $275 in a truck to drive to Vancouver. And luckily I had an auntie to stay with, and I was taking the SkyTrain. I brought food with me. I was very specific with my diet when I went down there. I've been fasting and stuff. So I even brought water. I brought 14 liters of good water that I could trust, and I had good organic food. I brought a cooler, so I brought everything that I could to prepare for this, because money was tight. I didn't even have money for rent. I was like, didn't have money for bills. I was just trying to make it and just do this competition. So it was really important to me, this competition, and so that I had to wake up my auntie in the middle of the night. I went to a White Spot and asked to use their phone, and or not White Spot. It was next door to White Spot, anyways, Earl's or something like that. And I phoned them, woke my auntie up in the middle of the night. Luckily, I had her number written down. She came and got me. Of course, she was a little upset. I go to bed. Next day, I woke up and I was feeling depressed. I was feeling suicidal, and I made the choice of, before I went into the next day. Actually, I had a workshop the next day. Didn't even want to go, but I did. Felt super out of place and judged, and just these groups of people. It felt like it was I didn't know this at the time, but in retrospect now I do. I feel like there was 32 poets at the Canadian Nationals. Most of them, we'll say, it was a wide range of all ethnicities being represented, and I didn't realize that they were representing, a lot of them these individuals felt like they were representing groups of people. So the Asian woman might have felt like she was representing Asian women, and so on. The First Nations woman felt like she was representing First Nations people and First Nations women, and I didn't know that. So then, with all this collective group mentalities that were going around, so then I started looking down and I started realizing, I was like, oh shit, so I'm a white man. And it's like, there was a lot of poems, and I mean a lot, 40% I would say, maybe not quite that high, but there was like, the woman who doesn't want to be called a woman anymore, wants to be called something else, and is like same-sex partner, and was resentful about the fact that she had pink clothes as a kid because she's not a girl and she never was, and that's what all of her poems were about. And I don't know what she wants to go by, and doesn't even want to be called she. It confuses me. I don't even know what to call this person. Even to speak about it is like, there's offense. People take offense of, I don't know, temporary insanity, we'll call it. And it was just, and it's like the white man this, the white man that, and white man is like, at what point is this bigotry? At what point are you being racist? Like, if anyone said any other race, if they were like, black man this, like, people would, whoa! But it's okay, so I guess, okay, this is the moment we're in. All right, it's just a moment that we're living in. It's again after again after again, like so many poems. There was one specifically about, like, saying, she might have said white man, male, oppressor, patriarchal in her poem like 10 times in one poem. And just like, you will not have my body, you sick white pig, and stuff. And it's like, whoa, like, it was, but anything goes. There was no rules on what we could say. So, okay, fair enough. They made that clear at the beginning. There was no content warning. You were allowed to say anything you wanted. Anything. That was the rules. That was what the rules stated. And I was like, okay. So I was also choosing to be offended by this. Maybe because I was in last place. They weren't feeling my stuff. Whatever. I was feeling outcast. I was feeling ostracized. But hey, that's my choice. That's my dealings. So I got into the last poem, the last day, and I had my uncle came. I had my friend there, which was nice. I wasn't by myself. I had a friend sitting beside me. It felt unusual to actually have. It was good. And before the last poem, I was in last place again, and I just said, check this out. He says, what are you going to do? And I said, just watch. I should have gone to film it, but I started off the poem. Like I said, I was crying all day. I was sad. I was feeling depressed going into this, and I just felt like saying something. So I went up there and I said, I am not your oppressor. And they hissed. And then by they, I mean there was like numerous people. I've never heard people hiss at someone before. Hissing, and I said, I want to be treated as an individual. I said, see me, I'm an empath. Look me in the eyes. Ask me questions. See who I am. And getting hissed at, and I said I didn't want to do this. I was almost in tears. Then I did my poems, if you know the song, Overstatement. To say I understand is an overstatement. To think I have a plan, you will be mistaken. I say that I'm a man that feels like he's only just awakened. I feel the light, it's burning my sight, hurts my retinas, I'm not forgetting ya. I'm simply accepting the path that when I lead through speech, I can see from the energy that speaks through me. My situation is an amalgamation of relations through the status quo. Once more, it's all I know. There's no escaping who we are, so when I open my soul to let go, a dream state can emerge attached to words in a verse, and the universe can disperse its hurt. I guess those are the perks to being bionic, psychotic,